All right, I'm here with inmate number 1253253. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up? That is I believe that's my back number. You could actually Google it or not Google it, but go on the inmate search and and
Uh,
find out all the details.
send you some canteen.
What's that?
Send you some canteen.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, some commissary.
Commissary,
There, yeah.
some zim zams and wham whams or whatever they are.
Oh, the whole shebangs.
Yeah, the
Is
whole
that what
shebang.
you're talking about?
I don't know, man. I just always
Oh,
have funny names for prison foods. What are the whole shebangs? Tell me
the
about that.
whole shebangs are these potato chips that are just well, actually, they're amazing, but the only reason I stopped myself there is because I don't know if they were amazing just because there was nothing, just because I was in prison, or or if they're actually amazing compared to everything else out here. Like, it's like just the limitations. But no, it's these chips, but I've never seen them anywhere else. I think you might be able to order them in bulk online or something, but they're just like, but every prisoner who's ever been to prison ever anywhere apparently knows these chips because that's the only place you've ever seen them. And they're these they're these like vinegary chips that like potato chips that are just they're super good. Yeah.
Whole shebangs. That's awesome.
The whole shebangs. Yeah.
Let's see if I can find some. Send them to you.
Yeah, that would be cool actually. I kind of miss those chips. It's funny, I find myself sometimes eating like when I'm on a I stick to a pretty strict diet, but I like, cheat or let myself have cheat meals or I F up, and just kind of gorge out on some junk food sometimes. And one of the things that I find that I just want more than anything is just the spreads that we would make in prison. Like people are like, yeah, I can go have anything now, but I like find myself at the Winco like grabbing like top ramen and like chicharrones, like
Yeah.
pork rinds and like just stuff to make a spread, like a shitty spread from from prison. And I'm like, yes, this is so good. Like I just try to make it like we did in there.
Oh yeah, that's funny because I look up like prison, like just going through YouTube. There's like prison cooking shows, and I'm like, dude, that looks so good. Make it
Yeah.
a bag and just stomp on it and shit.
Yeah, it's cool because like you can always make it with like very limited supplies. Like the creativity, I mean, not just in making food, but in MacGyvering everything in there is insane. Like I just some of the stuff that people do and the way they hook things up and like make things happen is wild. Like just what I mean, how are like people are just getting like tattooed with tattoo guns in there and they made them. It's just out of like these motors in their shaver or something. It's wild.
Yeah, I've never been to prison, but part of me kind of wishes I was, just because like one the experience. I mean, I don't really wish I would, but and then part of me just like wonders if it like some of it's actually kind of fun as long as you're not on like a high tier or something, or you're just like I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I mean, I'll be the first to say that I had a fantastic time.
I fucking knew it. I knew it was cool.
It was like, I mean, it was crazy and it was hard, and there were a lot
Yeah.
of horrible things about it. And I was also in most of the time, at least, I was in a very minimum security, like prison camp situation. But actually, before that, that's funny. I'm making a video right now that kind of lays out the timeline on everything. I spent a lot of time just locked in a cell too, like a very like 100 and probably like I'm figuring it out right now, but it's like 100 something like 140 days in a cell in county jail, and then in prison or when I went to the fish tank, it was like another 30 or 40 days, just like pretty much in a cell, almost 24 hours a day. Um, so that was my like the harder time part of it, and then after that I was transferred to camp. So in that situation you're in like these bunk halls, you don't have a cell, you're like in these cubes in these bunk halls, and you have like bunk beds all around you with other inmates, and so that's a little different. And you can kind of you can there's like a yard and the weight pile, and it's not very big or anything, but you also go out to work like on the wildland firefighting crews. They put you on a crew and you go out and do forestry work. So it's a lot different than just like sitting in a cell most of the time.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot you did the wildland firefighting through prison, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
crazy. LA
but
fires.
yeah, I know what I guess what I forgot what I was saying with that, which is well, the question you're asking is that oh, I was in a pretty low, like very minimum security situation when I was like transferred to prison and stuff. So when I say it was super fun, it's kind of like I don't I have to I'm the first to say I don't know what it's like to be really on a hard yard. I was kind of on one for a couple of weeks. But it was just a transition situation. So I was never in a situation where I had to, tip up, like join a gang or get involved in anything that I didn't want to get involved in. At camp, there's still a lot of crazy stuff going on. There's still people getting stabbed and like and some, race stuff, which is huge in prison. It's crazy. Like after being out in the world today, like in 2025, 2024, 2025. This stuff is like kind of we're sort of like on the opposite end of a lot of that stuff, but like in there it's just like racism is like it's just everything, like you're classified and you're segregated like but not by the prison, like by the inmates like
Yeah, yeah.
it's a thing. And so there was still some of that going on where I was, but yeah, for the most part, I was able to just kind of mind my own business when I wanted to and only get involved in things that I wanted to get involved in. And, there were some weird situations and a lot of crazy things that happened, and I had some crazy stories, but yeah, it was like, I was never afraid for my safety or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure there were times when I was a little unsafe and probably just not aware of it.
When you
But
did tip up, I was laughing. I was like, holy shit, dude. It would be so funny if you had to get like swastikas all over yourself.
dude, no, but I did get
Not
approached. Like
funny,
there was this.
but like because I know you, it would just be like, holy shit,
I
dude.
know you come out and it's just
You
like I
cover
I
up.
had to get it. I can't. There's nothing I could do. Yeah, I mean the closest thing that I got talked to one time because I was at camp and there was I had been there for a little while and there was a friend of mine that I had known from when I was out on the street running around. Justin, he's a black guy, and he came in and when I was like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And we like started talking and hanging out, and then I sat with him when we went to chow at the chow hall, and was like sharing my food with him and stuff. And then when I left the chow hall, there's like four guys, white guys, that come up to me, the like ones with the swastikas on them. and, and they were like, "Hey man, we're not going to do anything about it right now because like you've been cool, but like you can't sit with him again." And you definitely can't share your food with him, at all. And I was like, "What? Are you shitting me? This is my friend." And they were just like, "Yeah, well, that's not how it works in here. Like, you just don't do it again." Okay.
It's so
It's
crazy.
crazy. It's so crazy. It's just like I was like, "What?" But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's I'm talking on like the lightest, most minimum security
Yeah.
yard where the least of that stuff is going on. So I had cellies that were long time, they'd been spent lots of time in all kinds of facilities, and the stories I heard from them about that kind of stuff is like totally next level. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's insane. I'm so forget everything I said. I'm pretty glad I didn't go to prison.
No, but yeah, but like so yeah, I mean, so I kind of say all that as a sort of a caveat, and I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. It's like most people don't really have a good time. I
Yeah.
think I was in a very particular. I was at a very particular point in my life with very particular things going on that it sort of was the perfect form. And I sort of had a history of particular things that I liked that most people don't, like, solitude and isolation. I kind of, I've used to, I liked long meditation retreats and like, I'm a pretty solitary person. So that stuff never bothered me. In fact, being stuck in a cell, like a lot of people, one of the biggest complaints was if they would be put in a cell by themselves. and they would be like, you'd hear them yelling, like, give me a cellmate, because they just didn't want to be alone in that cell because it's like crazy making. And I was always the guy that was just like, hey, I'm cool. Don't give me a cellie. Don't give me a cellie. Like, I just wanted to sit in there. Not that I didn't get along with the cellies I had, but I just like, it doesn't bother me to be alone. If you leave me with a stack of books alone in a cell, like, I'll be fine. Like, you can leave me there forever and I'm totally happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
Um,
that. Like I wouldn't mind being.
yeah, but some people that's just not okay to do to some people, like I just that's just the way I function. I think more people kind of fall on the other side of that, where doing that can be really damaging to somebody, like psychologically. If you're not prepared to do that, if you haven't, if you're not interested in that already, if you're not that type of personality, like that can make you go crazy to just put you by yourself in a cell forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not like a fun situation. But like for me, I just was at this particular like pivot in my life where it was like perfect. And I was like, and I just had I had no ties to, like, I completely tanked my life out right before I got arrested. I was divorced. I'd already lost everything that I had. I was already like living on the streets and just running around, and lost my career, lost everything. And so I was like bottomed out anyway. And I was like dying and being Narcan back to life regularly before, like in the weeks before I was arrested. So I was like on my way out, and getting getting put into that situation, there wasn't a, like with most people that I see in there that really struggle, there wasn't like a lot on the outside that they were like removed from, right? I was removed from my drugs, and that's about it. That was the painful part in the beginning, the withdrawal period. But I wasn't like, didn't have a kid at home that I was, not going to be there for now. I didn't have, a house that I had to make payments on. I didn't have, like, I didn't have anything. I didn't have any, like a wife, I had my family. I had my dad, my mom, and my sister. And, but they weren't like, it wasn't like I was supporting anybody or doing it. There was nothing for me to worry about. I was completely out, like I was already basically checked out of society in some significant level, on some significant level. And yeah, so it was just like, this is an adventure now. Like, this is just something else. This is a whole new like world that I'm just exploring. And I feel like I'm, sort of like in this period of like rebirthing myself. And so it was just fun and exciting,
Yeah.
the whole time. But
Yeah.
that's not
I think
normal.
that's kind of what I mean when I say I kind of wish I would have been to prison. Is it's like then you don't like you're just taken out of that situation and like I don't know. To me it just seems easier to get clean and not be as tempted. Maybe there's stuff in there, but it's like somebody steps in, and goes, "Look, man, it's time. You're gonna die." Like, and you obviously can't do this on your own. So here you go. We're gonna just put you in here for a while and let you kind of come back to reality and get off all this stuff. And what was it like when you got arrested? Were you like I can't remember with the story. I know I've heard it, but was it like a surprise? Were you like just taken off guard, or you just like relieved? All
No, I definitely wasn't relieved. But my main concern wasn't, oh, I'm going to jail. It was, oh, I'm going to be withdrawing. That was my primary concern by far. And I was arrested twice, actually. Um, there was the initial arrest was a surprise. I was pulled over. I was coming back across the state line from California to Nevada, and I just picked up a bunch of drugs, a bunch of heroin so I had a lot of it. But a lot less than I normally had because I just previously been robbed at gunpoint before this happened. So the guy was hooking me up because I couldn't pay him back for all that was robbed from me. And he was like, "Okay, don't worry. Here, I'm going to front you this." So I had about half as much as I normally did. But somebody had snitched, or somebody else had gotten that I had sold to, that I was kind of like friends with. Um, she had gotten caught with some stuff and convinced to snitch on me, basically. And so they knew exactly what was going on because she was like, "Where are you with the stuff?" And I'm telling her where I am. And like, I'm almost home and I'm coming back across the border. So I get pulled over, for a basically I just thought I was getting pulled over for whatever, I didn't change lanes right or something, da da da. And actually somebody else was driving my van as I'm getting pulled over. And so I was like, okay, let me hop in the driver's seat. And I pull over and he comes up and he's like, you were swerving or something. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, sorry about that. And then he starts asking me all these questions, and I had no idea, about any. I was there was nothing in my mind that was thinking like, is there another reason why he pulled me over? I just have no idea. So he's talking to me and starts asking me all these questions, and then wants me to step out of the vehicle, and all of a sudden, and I'm just like, okay, and I didn't know what's going on because I don't, I'm not like savvy at this point at all on, and not that I'm savvy now, but about like, how cops, do their trickery or whatever. But I I just I step out, I'm compliant, and I realized that like when I stepped out of the vehicle, and they would have found it anyway. It didn't matter that it was in my pocket, but I had a lot of the drugs like in my pocket because there were these two girls in the car that were users, and I didn't want to leave it in the back while I'm driving, for them to pick through. So I'm like, this is the only place that it's safe. And I had it in my pocket. And then I wasn't driving, so she was driving and stuff. And so I was in the back. So when I jumped in the driver's seat, I still had this in my pocket. And when I stepped out of the vehicle, I was like, realize as I'm stepping out, oh shit, there's a lot of heroin in my pocket right now. But they already had the other vehicles there and the guard dogs coming out. So like they would have found it anyway. So it's not like that was the reason. But um yeah, and so it was kind of surreal. I just felt in that moment like I had no idea. I'd never been arrested before. I'd never even been taken to jail for the night to, like to the drunk tank or anything. Like so yeah, it was just like it was kind of surreal, and I was just like, shit, I'm gonna withdraw. I don't even remember being concerned about the jail thing. It was just the not having the drugs. That's the only thing that mattered at that point. And I was just like, how am I gonna do this? I wasn't even concerned that I'd be withdrawing in jail. It was just that I will be withdrawing. That was the problem. And I got in there and I was in there for 7 days. And then one of the people that I had been running around with managed to post bail somehow for me. And I still to this day don't know how he came up with the money. I mean, I think I know how he came up with it, but I just can't believe he got it together to actually do that. The state he was into. But um, anyway, so yeah, I got bailed out 7 days later, still fully withdrawing, and just went right back to it. And I actually started showing up they put me on a, close watch thing where I had to show up every week or every few days or whatever it was to drug test at this place called Sober 24, where they test you for, while you're out on bail. And I always showed up for that and always peed dirty. And I was trying to like I was vaguely trying to get on methadone, just not, like when you're on drugs, you're trying to do all this stuff, but no, you never actually get anything done. So I'm like gearing towards in my mind that I'm going to get on methadone. Probably that's all it was. And yeah, but then I kept doing it. I got more drugs from my source and kept at it for a couple more weeks. And then I was actually going into a CVS to get some ice cream or something. And I came out to the van, got back in it, and then they surrounded me in the parking lot, and pulled me out of the van. And at that point, I still had no idea what was going on. That time, I was like, "What is it this time?"
Hilarious.
Yeah. And
Uh,
and they're just like, "We got you on a control buy." Basically, that same person who I didn't know was snitching they were like, once I bailed out, they went to her again and was like, okay, we need you to go buy drugs with a microphone or whatever. And so they did, and I didn't know that had happened, and so they rearrested me.
Damn, dude. I wish it was like a episode of Cops where they had the camera there and stuff, so we had the
Oh
footage.
yeah,
It'd be
dude.
so
I'm like, one day I'm gonna try to go and find out how to like
Oh,
get
maybe for the body
the
cam.
body cam.
Yeah.
I want it so bad. I want to see it so
I want to see it, man. That'd be
bad.
so funny.
uh, yeah,
It's so
it's
funny. You see all these prisoners getting out of jail and making YouTubes, and now they're like super successful. It's it's like it's
yeah.
almost a career move at this point.
I know. I know. I want to bring that to back to that head cop who was such a dick to me when I was cooperating, and just be like, "Well, this is what you did for me, bitch. I'm making way more than you did."
Yeah, man. So okay, so then you get arrested and you're going through withdrawal again, I'm assuming. Uh,
Yes, withdraw all over again. And this
do they
time I
leave you alone? Does the other prisoners kind of leave you alone for those that first like week so that you can kind of get through it?
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, and the answer is that a lot, like most of the other prisoners are also withdrawn. Because our prison systems, if you don't know, are just full of drug addicts, basically.
Yeah, that
Are
makes
being
sense.
imprisoned for being addicts. So, I'm not saying I shouldn't have been in prison because I was actually selling a lot of drugs, but a lot of people in there are just people who just were, caught with some drugs on them and they got put in there you know, because that's not allowed. So, yeah, it's like a huge, it's especially in intake. In intake, it's like the intake unit is basically where they put you for the first few days before they transfer you up to a different unit. And that, when I was in intake, I can't remember if it was the first time or the second time. I was, I think it was the first time. I was in the cell with another person who was fully withdrawing from heroin and just we were both just so sick and he's just like getting up all night, like projectile vomiting all over the cell. and, and just trying to make it to the toilet and diarrhea and like it's just such a mess when you're withdrawing from heroin and I'm just like
Yeah.
in this on this mat that's like this plastic mat and just with like a little sheet and just soaked completely just like writhing around. Yeah, that was tough. And but then when you get up when I got up to the unit there at first for a very short amount of time, like I think it was the first week and a half or something before I was put in a cell, I was moved to this unit that it was like a bunk unit where it had like two tiers, like a base level and an upper level with just bunk beds. And you had to stay in your bunk area unless it was tier time, then you could go wander around in the little common area there. And so when I was there, I was with a lot of people who were also just going through it. And we just sit around on the tables like, oh, like I feel so shitty right now. And so, yeah, and all trying to kind of get it through it together, like having moments where we're like, okay, we're feeling okay. Let's try to go out and just do some push-ups or something, or like, I kind of getting each other through it. So yeah, there was a lot of that, a lot of that at the beginning.
I imagine that kind of bonds you too, like once you get through that together. Because I've been in
Yeah.
similar situations and just going through hard stuff is kind of bonding and like kind of gets you out of that like your public face you put up because you just feel so terrible that you're just who you are. And then yeah, I don't know. Did you meet some I don't know if I'd say friends, but like some people you got along with in there and like or were you just like were you tested much or anything like that?
Tested much?
Yeah.
Like as in
Like aggression or taking
oh,
stuff or you know.
not really. Like I saw people get tested a lot, but I wasn't messed with too much. And I met a lot of people in there that I really liked a lot and became very close with. A lot of them are still in there, the ones that I was close with. And I haven't really been trying to get in touch with any of them since, even the ones that are out or getting out or try to call me from in there because I'm technically on parole. I'm still, according to my parole officer now, one of her rules is that you can't talk to anybody who's like in there or even on parole or even a felon, I think, or whatever. It's a crazy, kind of a silly rule, but I try to abide by it anyway
Yeah.
because I mean, it's hard. You can never know if you're talking to somebody who's a felon, so it's kind of a strange rule to make to be like, you can't ask everybody if they're a felon when you're starting a conversation with them. So you're inadvertently probably breaking the rules all the time, but. Um, yeah, when you are put in a cell with somebody for months at a time, and it's just basically almost all of every single day and sometimes all of every single day is sitting in that little tiny cell. Like, I mean, we're talking a tiny space with the room is as wide as as a bunk, right? And then you're just in there with them for day after day after day for months. Like I spent two full months with my first cellie. I mean, I had a couple of cellies in intake, different cellies and stuff, but the ones I was in long term with were Ricky was 2 months, solid months, and then over 2 months with Rolo. And yeah, you just become like this, I mean, you're seriously like, unless you hate each other and you have to get moved because it's so bad. Otherwise, you just kind of bond. You're just like you learn everything about them. You talk about everything. I mean, there's nothing else to do. So yeah, it's like by default, you become close with like almost anybody that you'd be put in there with.
Yeah, I did wildland firefighting for a few seasons and or a couple seasons, and kind of the same thing. You're in a fire truck, like out on a fire for up to 2 weeks at a time, in the engine all day. You're working 19-hour days or whatever, and I mean,
Doing like going through some harrowing stuff together.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I was talking about. It's like you're going through ups and downs emotionally. You're tired. You miss your girlfriend. Um, you almost got killed that day. Like a tree almost fell on you, or I cut my chaps one time with the chainsaw out in the middle
Oh,
of nowhere. So if I didn't have those chaps on, I probably would have just bled to death.
oh, geez.
And yeah, you just become like they always call it like the brotherhood, and it is because it's like you just like go through these ups and downs together, and you kind of have this crazy bond that happens very quickly where you're just like talking shit to each other, you get mad at each other. It's not all friendly, but it's like you still are like even more connected. And then when you're out of it, then you're even more bonded. So yeah, I've only felt that in fire and a little bit in sports. And then I imagine prison's another place you'd probably feel it, or like the military.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
was
kind
that way on the fire crew when I was in there too. Same thing. I was on a fire crew with that was mixed with free staff, which is it was like the only one that I think they were testing, as far as I understand, they were testing this program where they brought free staff and actually mixed them with the inmate staff. And so I was on that crew, and those guys were just, I mean, they were quite a bit younger than most of us. Some of them were like 22, 23, 24, and we became close, really close with them. And it was such an interesting dynamic because they're free staff and they go home, but they're like, we were the inmates, and yeah, we became super close. I still keep in touch with one of them now. I've kind of kept in touch with them the whole time, and we've hung out, since I've been on house arrest. Like I've gotten I would have these little opportunities on house arrest each week, like a couple hours to use for free time sometimes. And I could go out to like the rock climbing gym or to go out to eat or something really quick. And I've hung out with him a few times doing that. And then since I've been out too, which is crazy because it was just like this pretty short period of time for them. It was just like a quick seasonal job for them, and then they were done. But I feel like they're brothers now.
of, yeah, it's crazy how it happens like that. Yeah, that's funny, man. Tell me about getting out of jail, like or getting out of prison. What was that like? What did you know was happening, or like what did you do as soon as you got out? Did you go to the Outback Steakhouse or something? Go get a
Well,
booming onion?
yeah, that's a good question. That's funny that you said Outback out of everything because I've never been to an Outback Steakhouse before in my life, except for like a week ago. I went to an Outback Steakhouse.
I've only been to one ever.
But I was in the thing. It was interesting because I thought I was going to have to be in there for the whole 3 years because I got a 3 to 10 year sentence, and it was a B felony, so that means no time off the front end. So the 3 years I had to do completely. Um, and so I was when I got to camp, I was about let's see, it had been about 6 months by the time I got to camp, after county jail and the fish tank. And then once I got to camp, but yeah, it had been around 6 months, the 6 month mark. So I thought I had 2.5 years left in that camp. And a few months in, I learned of the 317 program, it's called out here, which is a house arrest program, which I was only eligible for because it was my first conviction. You have to have two felonies or less, and I had two felonies convictions on my case, and so I applied for it and I got accepted. And I applied for it and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to be accepted or not. So there was this period where like for about a month or two maybe, where I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was like hopeful, but trying not to be hopeful, just trying to forget about it. And then I got approval. And once I got approval, it was like 2 weeks after that that I actually left the facility. And so I was able to, so because I guess they counted the ankle monitor time as time by, like it's counted as that front end of the sentence time. Like it's still considered you're still considered incarcerated when you're on house arrest. So that's why that worked. And so I was able to so it was by the time I got out of prison, from the time I got arrested to the time I got out, it was a little over a year. And then I did the remainder, like almost 2 years on house arrest. So I got transferred out of there and it was exciting. I went to my sister's house first. She and her husband were kind enough to um, like host me for a little while I figured out what to do. So she came and picked me up. Basically, they transferred me to Reno to the parole office. She picked me up there. I had to go to the ankle monitor place to get the ankle monitor attached. But there was like this period of time, which was only like an hour or two from when I left there to when I needed to go get the ankle monitor on, when I was scheduled for my appointment to go get the ankle monitor on, where I was out and I didn't have the ankle monitor yet. And we were driving around and I was like, I want to go to Chipotle. That was the thing. For some reason, I was just thinking of a Chipotle burrito bowl with
Yeah,
guacamole and just a double chicken
yeah.
Chipotle burrito bowl. And that's what I got. And it was underwhelming, actually. I thought I was really excited for it. I think they kind of made a shitty one, but
Oh,
still,
dude.
it was one of those days at Chipotle where I was a little off.
Yeah, dude. You're like,
I didn't get the one I
this is
was
the most
imagining.
important bowl of my life, brother. Please hook it up. If there was ever a time to hook me up.
Yeah, yeah. So it's it fell flat a little bit, but no, it was still just awesome to eat something that wasn't either prison food or stuff off the commissary. But I was really focused at the time, and I was really serious about not getting in the habit of eating bad. Like I was just like, I can't, like I've been eating this trash food from prison for a year now, and just processed food from the commissary, and I just can't wait to get home and like be able to actually like bake a piece of salmon and just eat it, or and with some greens, that was what was on my mind more than anything.
Yeah, what are you eating now? You said you're eating like you eat pretty strict.
I mean, I regularly let myself eat a treat or I regularly even slip up and I'll just kind of like be like, oh, F it and go, get some scoopers or something over here. But generally, pretty much almost I've gotten to the point now where I eat the same meal twice a day. I don't eat breakfast and I eat lunch and I eat dinner. And those two meals are precisely the same thing.
Psycho.
It's psycho shit. Yeah.
Serious killer
Uh,
shit. Got it.
the only difference is that in one, it's like a salad. Basically, I put like pinto beans, onions, um, and avocado, some greens, olive oil and vinegar, and then either a piece of tilapia or a piece of salmon. At lunch, it's tilapia. At dinner, it's salmon.
That
And
sounds pretty
I try
good.
to work in chicken as much instead as possible because everybody says you're a psycho if you eat chicken or fish every day, particularly salmon every day. Apparently, I'm going to die of mercury poisoning or
Oh
something,
yeah,
according to
you get
everybody.
Mad Hatter.
but I'm like this whole time I've just been like, whatever, I don't care. I'm eating the
Yeah.
salmon, but so now try to make myself eat chicken instead.
Dude, I
Once in a
eat
while.
salmon all the time. We get it at work, and so I just get it there like every day. So I have like 3 or 4 times a week.
It's my
Um,
favorite food ever. It's
Check
like,
me out.
yeah, I can't like I love it every way, whether it's baked or
Yeah,
grilled or raw or whatever. Like it's my favorite thing.
yeah, man. I'm a big salmon guy too. Yeah, man. I don't know. I was just kind of what tell me about some crazy shit that happened in prison.
Oh, there's a lot of it. I'm always hesitant because I'm still on
Uh,
parole, but
don't do that.
the chances that somebody's going to come across like one of my YouTube videos where I'm talking about this is, or one of the, or any YouTube video that I'm talking about this are so slim. And I think that by now, even if I like confessed, or it's not like there's all this stuff to confess to or anything, but there's just things that I did that were, you could catch a new charge for, but I don't think they could, I
Definitely
don't
don't say any of those things.
I don't think they could do it without like I could just, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think you have to have more evidence. I don't think there's anything that could possibly come of it really, but
What
I've
about
told myself like I should not until I'm off paper.
we can have an episode when you're off parole.
Yeah, and I'll go through all of it. Like it's just, I mean, nothing. It's nothing like that crazy. It's not like I was like stabbing people or anything.
You see any stuff?
Like there were times when I would get away with things that I could get away with because when you're in a situation where all your freedom has been taken away, like there's like at least in me there was this instinct to like like I'm gonna take every opportunity I can to like get away with things that I'm not supposed to get away with because you know like it's like a rebellious instinct. Like there's this rebellion instinct that kicks in when you're just completely taken all your choices are taken away. You're going to be like, well, I'm going to find out how to pull one over on these guards or whatever, So
On the pigs.
yeah, but
Uh,
there's so much crazy stuff that goes on there. Like, I mean, there's a couple of things. I think I've talked about that story before where I cut that guy's eye. Did I tell you that? Was I talking to you about that?
I think so. How to,
Yeah, I talked about this on a different channel. Maybe it was a different podcast, but I was in county jail and I had this celly, little boy is what he was called. His name's Ricky. He was like this kid. He's just like just a lifelong gangster from LA, who has just tatted everywhere, completely one of those guys. Super awesome guy. I love him to death. It's crazy artist. Like I still have some of his art that he did in the cell while I was sitting there with him. And I actually, it's all sitting up in the closet. I just found it when my sister gave me all this stuff back. He had this hernia, like he had this injury, and they had seen him for it when it was like not that big of a deal, and they said it's not a big deal, so they like sent him back to the cell. But when I was there in the cell with him, it popped out and it was like way bad. It was like, I mean, it was right here and it was just coming out to like it was like coming out like it was bad. And he kept requesting medical attention, and they were just like, you're fine, you've already been checked for that. You're fine, you've already been checked for that. And they would not see him, and he was like very uncomfortable and in a lot of pain with this crazy thing. I'm looking at him like, oh, like in the cell with this. I'm just like, how are we going to get these guys to take you to the infirmary, my friend? And so I was like, what if you like fell down and passed out? Like how would they come for that? Like they have to if there's a man down. And he said, yeah, okay, we could do that. And I was like, well, I can't remember if he came up with the idea or if I came up with the idea, but we were going to have him fall and hit his head on the bunk and be bleeding. I was like, well, we need you to be bleeding. So we found this, there was this little piece of like magnet in the cell that was just like under something. It was just this little tiny like piece of magnet, I think it was. And we were able to sharpen it up so that it was like a little blade. We uh shattered it and it became like a little blade, and we just kind of sharpened it up. And then I like took his eyebrow, like sliced it open because I thought it would be like bleed the most from there. And he just started bleeding everywhere. And I was like, okay. And then he like, and we put a little bit of his blood on the side of the bed. And he laid down, and I pushed the call button, like, man down, man down. And so they came running and they took me out of the cell, and they, assessed him. They took me into another area, and like they all surrounded me, and they're just like looking at my knuckles because they're like, did you hit him? So they're looking at my knuckles to see if they could see any evidence that I hit him. Oh yeah, and we like after as soon as I cut his eye, we flushed that magnet down the toilet. And so yeah, and then they took him to the infirmary. They did take him to the infirmary, and then I guess when he was like, "Well, I passed out because I mean I was just in so much pain, and then I just passed out." And they were like, "Well, you're here for the passing out and the hitting your head, not for that. So we're just gonna send you back." They didn't do shit.
Oh, dude. Oh man, so they just got sent back, huh?
Sit
I thought
back.
I did
So,
so.
but when we got back, they were like, I was like, what did they say? And he said, they told me that I definitely need surgery. but but then they just sent me back, and they're like, well, you'll deal. I mean, they basically didn't want to have to deal with it. Like they wanted to wait until he got sentenced or something and have the prison deal with it or something, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it was kind of a funny story.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Uh, yeah,
Uh,
it's a good one.
Yeah, there's another one that was funny was like we had these oh no, yeah, I mean it's just like I guess it's not that great of a story, but we had these when I was in the another cell with my other cellie that I was in there for a long time, Rolo. He was also like a motorcycle one percenter. He had the 1% tattoo on his neck, so he's like from the POBOB chapter of the Northern Riders in this area or something. He was like the sergeant of arms or at for the Northern Riders or something.
Yeah.
He was like he had done a lot of time, and he knew like the ropes about things, and so he would show me things like how we do certain things or rig stuff up. There's like on your mattresses, they would give you these flat sheets, and like I said, you had these plastic mattresses that were just totally uncomfortable. Every time you moved, it was just like like all day. That's all you could hear in the cell. Every time you shifted at all. And super uncomfortable. And they give you these flat sheets, not even fitted sheets. So they would be flat sheets, and you just put the flat sheet on it. But then if you like move, the sheets just coming off, it's just sliding off of this plastic mattress. So you take these, so you take, we had these, it was COVID still time where they were handing out these cloth masks, and the ear pieces that go around the ears. We rip them off. He said, okay, you rip these off. We're going to rip these off. We're going to use a pencil and poke holes in the edge of the sheet. Um, and then you wrap it around the bottom and tie the sheet to the bottom and most of the inmates do that so that the sheet is covering your mattress, right? But so most of the cells have these sheets tied up like this, so the guards are used to seeing the mattresses covered in a sheet. So one day he's like, these plastic covers suck, like this is ridiculous. And he's like, I'm gonna take mine off. And he took this like pencil, and like he like broke open the seam and ripped it off, and I was like, yeah, me too. And so if you do this, it's like a new charge. It's destruction of state property. So you can't like just go to the guard and be like, hey, I need to throw this out. There's nowhere to hide these giant pieces of plastic that we had. So we knew the porter, and we set it up with him so that he would come around while he was taking the trash out, and come to our cell, and we'd like throw it in the trash real quick while he's pretending to sit and talk in our cell for a second. Because sometimes, well, the porters are allowed to be out because they like clean the unit and do all this stuff. So they're out a lot more than all the rest of the inmates, and they have a lot more privileges. It's usually the guys that are in county jail for a very long time that are awaiting like a trial that's going on forever. They usually are the ones that become porters. So this guy comes around, and we get one of the plastic things fits in the big trash can, the other one won't. And so one of us threw it in there, and the other one, uh, I think I put mine in the trash, and he took his in his bundle of dirty laundry and like threw it into the dirty laundry thing, so that when they got down to the inmates that do the laundry downstairs, they're gonna find this last big piece of plastic. So we took them off, and it was just like these cushion, nice foam things. And then we just take those sheets and wrap it around and tie it underneath. And so that when the guards come around and they just see the sheet. They never knew. And the only time they would find out is when like one of us left the cell, when we got moved
Yeah.
or something.
Ah,
So
hell yeah.
just like, I hope we don't get moved. Um, and yeah, but it was like so much better, so much better. It just that was just one little, like, just little things like that. You just find ways to just get around things. But there were other things that I did that were like more, a little more serious, that yeah, just, I mean, that have to do with
So bad.
like making pruno, and also like some drug stuff that was going on in there. Like, I wasn't using or doing drugs when I was in there, but there were some drug situations that I was in. But I'll talk about those probably
Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah,
We'll hold off on the the details.
yeah. But anyway, but none of it was like that big of a deal. I mean, me not talking about it probably makes it seem worse than it is. But it's just,
I just
yeah,
don't want to be responsible for you
yeah,
getting thrown back in there.
yeah.
So
Oh
what's up,
man.
man? What's new with you? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Nothing. I'm just doing, I'm still running like a crazy
Oh,
person
nice.
everywhere. Yes.
Hell yeah. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Just,
running to work, you're running to the grocery store, running everywhere.
yeah. Yeah, that the work situation is so funny. Like, the vice president actually came down yesterday after I talked to you.
Yeah.
Kind of sorted some stuff out a little bit. Basically what the situation is our manager was doing drugs for a long time. And finally, we kind of like, this has been over like a year at this point, and we finally were like, and they kind of knew about it, like the higher ups, but I think they just didn't want to like acknowledge it, because they were like, Reno's kind of, this is its own little district, and they knew they were going to have to deal with so much stuff if they fired him. So he was kind of in this position where he was just skating by, not showing up to work on salary, so he didn't have to clock in and out. So he could just not be there, and nobody would know unless somebody said something. And he just not there. When he was there, he was just sleeping, just not contributing at all, just completely strung out, like to the point where people would be like, what's wrong with him? Like people that were just customers and stuff would just see him, like a glance of him, and be like, well, something's up there, okay, so it was like that bad. And finally it kind of all came out just recently, and they like fired him, but then they just never replaced him. So there's like no manager at work right now. Like, and it's been this way for a couple of months now. And they just haven't said anything to any of us about like what's going on. But finally, after, remember, because yesterday, for the people who don't know that are listening, I had to cancel our talk yesterday because I had to run into work. The vice president finally came down and was just like, okay, here's the deal. So yeah, that's been
You,
going on.
dude, you just can't get away from it, man. That's the thing is when you get into these jobs that like, I don't want to say crappy jobs, but I'm in the same boat. You're thrown in with people that are, you know, got in those, that's what they're doing too. And like I work in a hospital kitchen. There's been a lot of drugs coming in and out there over the years. Not right now, but in the past we've just had some crazy people. We had one lady, she was working here and McDonald's. I don't know if I told you this. And then they came to the hospital to arrest her because she was selling drugs out of the drive-through at McDonald's.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh yeah, way to
Yeah.
be efficient.
I know. Not a bad idea. I mean,
Just get this done while I'm
actually a
here.
terrible idea, but
I know.
you know, pretty
It's
ingenious
funny.
for the time.
That's funny. I just recently, there was one of our employees that the cops showed up to work and arrested him. They just, that's like, yeah. I mean, the
That's
people that
not
get
us.
hired are drunks or crackheads, or sometimes like that's the kind of place that I work at.
Yeah.
So we have zero, like there's literally zero retention of anybody like past a couple of months, other than me and Jeff, like the other guy. Like we're the only two that have been there. Actually, like literally, I think the one of we're down to one other employee besides the two of us right now, and he is leaving. So it's just us.
They
And we're
need
the
you.
only two that ever we like, and we've been there for like I've been there. I got that job like 2 days after I got out on house arrest. It was like the first thing that happened is it was like within I think it was like within 4 or 5 days, I was at work, clocked in from when I got off or got out of prison. And I've been there ever since. So it's been over 2 years now. And Jeff was there for a couple of years before that. And other than that, the like longest employee that we've had there has been like 3 or 4 months.
That's so crazy, dude.
Like we've gone through so many employees that some of them last like a couple weeks, some of them last a month and a half. Some of them are just some of them get fired because they're just come into work completely obliterated, blackout drunk. Some of them are arrested from work. Some of them just most of the time though, the quitting process is like we always know when it's going to happen because they'll be coming to work and then they'll start calling out like 1 day a week, then 2 days a week, then 3 days a week. And then at some point they'll just no call, no show and never show up again. That's always the way it goes.
Yeah, that's kind of like us
With
too.
the ones that don't get fired or arrested. That's how it always goes.
Yeah, I kind of don't like people's name the first month because I don't know if I'm going to see them anymore.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. I've
you
gotten
get
to
to know
that
your
way where I'm just
name.
like, yeah, I don't know how, I'll wait and see if I need to get to
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because the craziest part about it too is that it's been sort of because of this situation with the manager, being all messed up for a while now, and hopefully this is going to be fixed now. Is so we're hiring all these people that basically can't get a job anywhere else that are they pay so low there that we're getting just the bottom of the barrel that are applying. Like it's hard for them to even get people to apply. And so like literally they'll hire someone who like they come in for the first day and they're hiring them like in video interviews over, from Sacramento. And they'll come in and we'll be like, you're high on crack right now. Like there's no, there's no way that you're not high on crack right now. But so it's been kind of like it's been like sort of like a bug light for any kind of person that wants to work there. And then the people show up and they look at the manager and they're like, oh, that guy's fucked off. Like we're good. And then G was or I shouldn't have said his name. I fucked
Yeah.
up. Um, Ed is like, he's so messed up. He's not doing anything. So he's not he's not giving anybody write-ups for anything. He's not like moving to fire people when they should be fired or written up or whatever. And so people are just like I hit the jackpot. This is like I just can come in here. I can do whatever I want. There's no rules. There's nobody watching over me. There's no consequences to anything. I can do whatever I want. And so we'd get employees where it's just like that was the environment. It was just me and Jeff basically working, and then there's been a couple of good workers over the years that stuck around for a little while and then just left. But mostly it's just us working and then everybody else just kind of screwing around and like showing up when they want, not showing up when they want, never getting a write up. So it was this interesting situation. And we're just like, we're not in charge. We can't write them up.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do. So yeah, it's just bad. And then even those people though, even though I'm just like, this is the dream situation for you, they still just would manage to not show up and then eventually just no call, no show until, and just get fired and just get, let go that way.
Yeah. Man, that's funny. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I always think about like, man, once you're down like in this bracket, it's so hard to get out because of like all this. But at the same time, it does show you like with me, I've been at my job for over 8 years, and
Mm.
like if you are willing just to do the job, like a lot of people, you can still get a job. Um,
Well, that's the coolest part about all like it seems like now I'm aging myself now because I'm like when these
yeah,
kids today is what I'm
yeah,
basically about to say.
yeah, I'm the same way.
But no, but it's just like you don't have you don't have to do much to be a full step above at
Yeah,
least everybody else. Like it's not hard. You don't have to put out much effort to be like an exemplary employee. Like basically, if you just do what you're supposed to, that's like exemplary these days.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. Yeah, and then just like for me and you, like having the YouTubes as a another thing just to kind of work on the side over the years. And yeah, I don't know, it's hard out there, man. It's tough. I'm going through
Yeah.
it now with my car and everything, and I'm thinking about moving actually. I think my car breaking down was kind of the last straw for me as far as like living in San Mateo in the Bay Area. I'm probably gonna try to get out Sacramento way and be just closer to my family. Like if I'm being poor, I might as well be poor around my nephews. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like chilling around them a little more. It's just too lonely out here, man. There's just nobody out here that I know, you know. Been out here for years and I don't know, man. I'm kind of excited about what's next for me as far as like getting out of here and kind of getting closer to family and go from there.
Mm. That's so, yeah, I definitely feel that. That's the kind of, I sort of feel like everything you just said is kind of how I feel about being in Reno. I'm here because of this sentence. I'm on parole. I'm just waiting to get off the sentence. I'm just waiting to move out of Reno, basically. And it's hard because, I don't like, I don't want to make any connections, like strong connections with people because yeah, I'm going to be out, I'm going to be leaving. There's no way that I'm staying here. So it's just, I just don't, this is not my home. This is not my place. It never has been. And so I'm waiting to leave. And it's just a weird position to be in where you're like stuck in a place that you're not going to be in or stay in or want to start any roots in. And you're just kind of waiting. In any other circumstance, I'd be like, have left already by now for sure, obviously, but it's just this strange artificial situation kept in place by this sentence that makes it just a little, it just makes it weird. And I'm also looking forward to moving. And I've also been thinking about moving to the Sacramento area because I have a lot of friends down there that I'm interested in doing stuff with that are, doing music stuff and doing YouTube stuff. And so maybe we'll meet.
Maybe it's meant to be.
Yeah, maybe we'll meet in Sacramento and
Meet you at the crossroads.
down the road. Yeah.
Some Bone Thugs and Harmony. Uh yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much else. I just kind of winging it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
man. When are you off? When are you off parole?
January 1st of 2026, as far as I know.
Oh, nice. One more year.
Yeah. I mean, if I royally F
Yeah.
up, it can extend up to 6 years longer than
Dude,
that.
don't mess up because you might have been, another 6 years.
But
Oh,
as far
dude.
like the way things have been going, uh January 1st of 2026.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be tough. Then you'd be in your like
Yeah.
40s getting at it, getting out arena.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I know what you mean. Just I've had that problem just trying to meet people. It's like, dude, I don't want to meet somebody. Like I want somebody, but I don't want to meet somebody because I don't want to end up here.
Yes, yes.
I think my last relationship kind of made that clear that like, dude, unless you guys are living in the same town, it's kind of not, I don't know. And it's got to be somewhere that you're okay living. So check
Yeah.
out Sacramento.
Yeah. I mean, the people that I know that live down there love it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that like it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know where. Like, I probably when I get off of parole, the first thing I'm going to do is hike the Pacific Crest Trail, um, which is gonna. So I like I'm. That's another reason why I'm not. I'm really not wanting to be rooted into anywhere because I basically just want to get rid of, drop this place, drop this job, hopefully have a remote job enough so that I can, support myself that way by then. And then, but just take 5 months, after this 4+ period of just since I was arrested, it'll be over. It'll be like well over 4 years from the day I was arrested to the day that I'll be done with this. And so the only thing that I can think that is appropriate is just I'm gonna, drop everything and go into the woods and just walk for 5 months, just to be free,
Yeah.
no
You're so
baggage,
funny,
no
dude.
ties, no nothing, nothing to deal with, nothing to worry about. Just get out there and do that hike. I know, yeah, I know I'm gonna do it. I mean, I love long distance backpacking. It's like my favorite thing ever. So it's really something I've wanted to do for years, and this is the time.
I think that's where we differ is I have no desire at all to do that. That sounds awful to me.
Yeah, well, I
I'm
mean, see,
like,
that's
let's go for like a few days.
yeah, I know that's. I mean, it's yeah, it's my favorite thing, but mo most people have that reaction to it. Like that's
Yeah.
not ever something like that would be a chore. That would be
Yeah.
something you'd have to pay me for.
Yeah. I
So,
was supposed to be in Thailand for a year and I went at 6 weeks, I threw in the towel and I was
oh,
like,
really?
yeah, I said, fuck this.
I also want to like go live abroad and go live in Thailand for a little while. I've been to Thailand. I love it.
Yeah.
Like I would like to actually like go there, not as just like doing a touristy thing for a little bit, just kind of actually get a little spot somewhere and live for 6 months or a year. I
Yeah.
would do that.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind doing that again, maybe. Especially now that I've kind of traveled a bit, like been to a few foreign countries, like I know how to do it a lot better now. Like that was one of the first ones I went to, so it was like I just wasn't ready for it, you know. I didn't know what to expect. I had no
That was
idea.
my first one too.
Yeah. And I got real homesick and just like we were not in a touristy area at all. So there was, it wasn't that great. Nobody spoke English. So you're like isolated even though you're around people. But food was good.
Mm.
Food was really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that was like some of my favorite food I've ever had.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, cool, dude. I don't really have much else. I was just saying what's up. Figured we record it. Kind of turned into
Cool.
an interview.
Yeah, no, I loved it. That was fun.
Yeah, man. What are you doing for YouTube? You doing some videos?
I have a video in the works right now that I'm working on. It's basically I finally discovered that I can use stock footage from the internet to,
Oh,
I got a subscription. I get my music from this website called artlist.io. And I've been getting my music for the videos for a while now, but there's like this upgraded version where you can get all the stock footage. And so I started looking through all the stock footage and realizing that I could use this. It's a lot easier than going out, and the shots look a lot better than from my iPhone, just around town or whatever. So I'm
yeah.
still mixing that in with shots of me and stuff. But I am trying it out and using the stock footage. I used a little bit of it on a video a couple of videos ago, but this time I'm kind of making it move like a little sort of timeline from when I was arrested till when I'll be off of parole, and just kind of I counted out the days in each place that I was like in each situation, how many days I spent in whatever situation, and I'm sort of uh, in the middle of putting that together right now. I should be done today, I think. Hopefully, I'll post it today or tomorrow.
Hell yeah. That'll be cool. I want to see that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what's next for me too. I've been talking to other people and like I think just having to kind of upgrade everything is a must if you want it to grow. So
I know. I look at these YouTubers' channels that just like they have this cinematic look,
yeah,
and even if they're just vlogging or something, I'm just like, how do you? I want that, and so then I
yeah,
look into it and I'll find a video where it's like, well, I just use this camera, da, 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 and I look it up on Amazon. It's like $4,000, and then but that's not even with the lens, and you got to get the lens for another
yeah.
grand. I'm just
Dude,
like
what's
not I'm
crazy
not quite
is
ready for that yet.
I've seen quite a few channels that have like really good quality stuff or everything, and they don't give any views. And I'm like, how is that possible?
And then I see channels where there's people that are where somebody they just the I guess the audience like likes the person, and
Yeah,
they just post anything, of them, just whatever, and they are huge. And every video they post, they get 1 million views.
Dude, I was trying for that. It's like maybe people would love me.
Well, there's this guy, there's this gamer guy that popped up, and the only reason I started watching his channel is because I saw how many views his videos were getting. And so I would click on it just out of curiosity. And he's like kind of talks about gaming and just basically it's just him giving his opinion on things. And he
Yeah.
just does a lot of reaction videos and stuff. It's as McGold or
Oh,
something.
Admirable. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just started watching him and it's just like, dude, every time he posts a video, within a
Not.
day or two, it's got 1 million views. And
Yeah.
even if it's just him being like, I'm gonna watch this video with you guys, and he just watches it and doesn't say shit almost.
That guy kind of seems like he sucks.
No, but I'm just like, what is it? Like, I guess I mean, I guess he was a Twitch streamer
I
probably or
think he's
something,
just been
and he
doing it
got,
so long
and
too.
he's
Yeah.
got been doing it so long. Maybe that's the key. We just have to keep
Just
doing
keep
it for
going,
so
bro.
long that some percentage of humanity will be like, okay, I'll watch this guy regularly.
Yeah, I think that kind of is. And
And
I
it
was
just
like, I looked
you
up
have to build it over time.
I looked up 10,000 people a day are born and die in the US about. And so every
Oh,
day you post, there's 10,000 more people that are like in our age, like it's kind of crazy. So you're like, oh
oh
yeah, there's a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
room in here for,
dude.
isn't that
Oh,
weird? Think
that's
about it that
super
way.
good news.
Yeah, I know, it's sweet. Hopefully all my haters are dying and all the people that like me are being born. No, I didn't mean to say that guy sucks. I just meant I watched some of his videos and he was just like, I just like was what the fuck, dude? Like you
Well,
don't
no, because you're like, what? Yeah, I get what you're saying. You weren't saying he
secretly.
sucks. You're saying that, like, how are you getting 1 million views for
Yeah,
this?
yeah. I don't know the guy. I didn't watch that much of his stuff, but yeah,
He's interesting. I mean, I don't hate him or anything. Like,
I know.
it's just interesting how you get a following, like, and how it just, But there's some people that just, I watch channels like that and watch videos like that, and I'm just like, what is it about this that
Yeah,
is working? Because something's working.
mm,
And it's probably there's too much history of him like growing on the channel to really see. But then there's certain other channels where you can really kind of pick it apart and be like, wow, this channel only has, like they're at like 7,000 subscribers, but these videos are getting 400,000 views each time, so they don't have an audience base, but they're just doing something right with the videos. Like obviously it's a pretty new channel if it's only, if they're hitting numbers like this, but there's only that many subscribers, like it can't have been around that long. So
yeah,
there is like a formula and something you can do to just make it catchy, but you kind of have to learn a lot about like marketing and advertising, I think.
yeah.
It just tricks of that trade. I was reading a book on it and it's actually really helpful. It's called The YouTube Formula.
No,
I
yeah,
recommend it. It just gave me a lot of good stuff, and I haven't finished it yet, but I'm just getting into the part where it starts to talk about all how to actually utilize all the information that YouTube is giving you in your analytics to like how you use that information to make decisions. But then yeah, but it goes through this whole thing about like how to make a video, how to structure it, why some videos are interesting and some aren't, how to title and thumbnail, all this stuff. So
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna dive into that once I get some more money in.
yeah. But a lot of it is just like, you don't have to have a bit more equipment or anything. You don't have to. It's just the way that you present things. It's like you were saying that time when you were talking about watching that video where the guy was saying, "Look, I'm just walking through a forest, but
Oh
if
yeah,
you do it like this, it feels like a story and it's engaging.
yeah,
So I'm interested in what will happen with this video I'm making right now because it's basically I'm using the stock footage to tell a story, and my face isn't in it very much, but so I'm interested in like and I put dramatic music on it and
oh
like
yeah. I can't wait. I
made
want to see it
made
now.
it seem all like intense. So so I'm interested to see what will happen when I post it. Like
Cool.
relative to my videos where I'm just kind of like talking to the camera for a minute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be cool. I'll be interested to see how that works too. Ah,
All right.
sweet.
I'll let you go.
I'm gonna go get a Little Caesars pizza.
Nice.
Got
Yeah, I
one
was
right
thinking
next
about
to me.
going and getting myself like I'm kind of craving a sugary coffee from 7-Eleven.
Ooh,
I usually just drink it's another thing like we did in prison where it's just the bag of dry instant coffee and I just spoon it into a cup and I add like a drop of water and just chug it.
Oh,
That's how I drink my coffee. We on the fire line, we used to do coffee shots. Did you guys ever do that?
yeah.
Well, because we had the commissary. That's the only thing we had was these, you can't go buy anything. So we bring our commissary, the little bags of instant coffee, and we just, everybody be like, coffee shot. And we
Oh, yeah.
put it in our hand and just eat it dry and chug it down with the water.
Yeah, we never did that, but we do a lot of Copenhagen long cut, and then people buy like bags of like running energy chews and things like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the dipping thing is definitely a firefighting thing.
Oh,
Like
dude. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so
that
glad.
was the coveted thing. Like when we were with the fire, the free staff, they would bring in dip for us, and it was like, oh my God, you guys are awesome.
Yeah,
They would just share their dip with us, and they're not supposed to do that at all.
for
But
sure.
like smoking is banned in prisons in Nevada at least, and I think a lot of other states. And so, I mean, people behind those walls that weren't on these fire crews, like these kids would get swarmed with inmates, just like, hey, can you hook it up? Can you hook it up? Like, and we were on the crew with them, so they'd hook us up. But then there were so many of them, they're like, we can't hook you guys all
Yeah.
up. We're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so, but when you're on a fire crew and inside those walls, like people are smoking like shit they find in trash cans, like from like the guys who go out to work at the compost, they'll like bring home like cigarette butts that were sitting in like the bottom of a beer bottle and dry it out. And like you get that tobacco just to and roll it up to like in Bible paper just to try to smoke it in the bathroom for a second. Like, and that, is yeah, like a treat. Yeah, like people, sometimes they'll get a tobacco in there. They'll have like some system that they've worked out with somebody on the outside where they find a way to get like some tobacco in and then they'll sell it, but it's like so expensive, like just for a little bit of Bali shag or whatever, some top, just tobacco, just a tiny little bit, you're going to pay like 10 or $15 sometimes.
That's
Yeah.
so
For a Taylor cigarette, they call, which is like a real manufactured cigarette, like a, Marlboro or Camel or something, that's going to be like $20 for one.
that's so that's so
Yeah.
insane. I can't
It's
imagine.
insane. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm so glad I'm not addicted to nicotine anymore. That one's a motherfucker.
It's such a weird addiction, isn't it? Like it's because it's like I'll do it and it'll be like, I hate the way this makes me feel. I don't like the anything about this. I'm not enjoying it. But then when I put it down, it'll be like I'll be thinking about it and I want to do it. But every time I do it, it makes me feel terrible. But I still want to do it. Yeah, I don't know. Like I haven't been doing it lately, um, which is like the first time since I think got out that I've been like actually stopped thinking about it and forgot about it, for a
Yeah.
while. And then, people like my friend will bring her vape over sometimes and I'll hit it, but I haven't been like buying any or anything.
The vapes are tough because they taste good. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I don't really think about it anymore, but every once in a while, kind of smell it or something and be like, oh man,
Yeah.
remember when I was into it? Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
dude.
finish this video.
Yeah. All right, good talk.
If I can get it posted by tonight, that'd be cool. I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I don't know when I'll either throw this one up today or tomorrow.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll say something about being on here again on my channel when not this video because this video will be constructed out already, but on my next one I'll say something. How do you never mind, I don't want to waste time on this
Huh,
recording.
good.
That's
Yeah,
one question. No, just like the community, like you can leave like a thing where you type out something and you're just like, hey
yeah.
guys, I need to figure out I've never done that, so I need
So
to
you
figure.
you can't do it from your phone, but if you go to your YouTube studios from a computer, here, let me bring it up because it took me forever to figure that out too. You're talking about posting to the community, right?
Yeah.
So let me go to
No,
my.
I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's like where you see a channel that you subscribe to or something, you'll see like I see LD do it all the time.
Yeah, that's his
Like,
community.
yeah,
So let's see here.
it's basically like a tweet to the community or something, like a long tweet.
Yeah, it's called a community post.
Okay, okay.
So YouTube Studio, and then I go to create, and then I go down. Let's see, create post rather than upload video. Do create post,
Okay.
and that'll take you to it. And
Yeah,
then
I'm so bad with my community. Like right now, like I literally stop. I don't even like. I haven't looked at my email in like 3 weeks or
yeah,
more.
nobody really, I mean, I don't really get many views on my community. I just put them out there just to do it. It's a good place to like be able to tag who's like if I like if you could put a post tagging me and saying, hey, it's great to be on, tag
That's
them.
why I was asking, so I could do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Go to like you're uploading a video, but go to I think it's community post or post. Yeah, it's rather
Yeah.
than
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, man.
All
Sweet.
right.
I did.
All right. Take it easy.
Talk to you, man.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.